viewers, there has been a case of Nobel Prize chori. Yes, US President Donald Trump won't be receiving the Nobel Prize this year, despite his frequent claims that he's the obvious winner for having stopped 8 wars in the last few months. For him, it doesn't really matter who won it. But let me tell you that the Norwegian Nobel Committee has picked Venezuela's Maria Corina Machado, recognizing her for her fight for democracy in Venezuela and giving her the Nobel Peace Prize. Trump's claims of having ended 8 wars in his second tenure and that at least 9 endorsements for his candidature will have to wait another year, even as we wonder if he has really even brokered any peace on ground. Now we know that technically Trump could not have won the Nobel Peace Prize this year, as the deadline to file nominations for 2025 ended on January 31st, just 11 days after President Donald Trump assumed office. But all these technicalities don't really matter for Trump, who is known to be temperamental. Paraphrasing a popular quote, hell hath no fury like Trump's scorn. So what would this Nobel snub mean for the world? Will more tariffs and sanctions follow? Will he abandon the peacekeeping measures? Let's ask my guests these questions tonight. And joining me on the show, Sushant Sareen, Senior Fellow at ORF. But my first question, Dr. Jeffrey Gunter, former US Ambassador. To you I ask this question. Are we going to see President Donald Trump in a worse mood than before because the Nobel Peace Prize hasn't really gone his way this time around at least?
Well, first off, thank you for having me on the show, and thank you for the great work that you do to bring really these relevant and important world topics to your viewership. Absolutely not. President Trump, time and time again, has said he is doing this to save lives. And there's just no doubt about it. Whether it's Armenia and Azerbaijan, whether it's in Rwanda and the Congo, wherever President Trump gets involved, lives are saved. Look at the unbelievable Abraham Accords, bringing peace in the Middle East between Israel and 4 of its Arab neighbors. President Trump has said it time and time again. He said he did not expect to get the Nobel Peace Prize. Obviously, if he was a Democrat, it would have happened immediately, like Barack Obama, who did absolutely nothing to receive the award. And President Trump has said time again, like I said, he's interested in saving lives, stopping the killing, and that's why he is the peacetime president, and that's why he is so popular here in America and around the world.
Well, Mr. Gunter, Ambassador Gunter, touche is all I will say. But Sushant Sareen, President Donald Trump wasn't really fishing for the Nobel Peace Prize, says Ambassador Gunter. Really? How many occasions do you remember that President Trump has spoken about the fact that he deserves the Nobel Peace Prize? Any prizes for guessing?
Frankly, I lost count of the number of times he made a pitch for the Nobel Peace Prize. And I think it was rather unseemly for somebody holding the position of the President of the United States to hanker for a Nobel Peace Prize and constantly, literally hector everybody that he needs to get the prize. He deserves it more than anybody else. And what has happened is that the fact that he has not got the prize this year, it's given, memes are going viral and people are making fun of him and saying that he might declare war on Venezuela or extra tariffs on Sweden and Norway for denying him the prize. But having said that, Navika, to be fair to the guy, I agree that a lot of it is hyperbole on his part, but I think he has made more efforts than anybody else to try and end the war in Ukraine, number one. Okay, the US is trying to profit from that war by selling weapons through Europe to Ukraine. And they very shamelessly say that we make 10% profit on it. But that's aside of what Donald Trump himself has tried to do to bring about peace out there, to at least end the war, bring about a ceasefire. And I suppose he can take some credit for the ceasefire in Gaza if it holds. Again, he probably can take some credit for the peace deal between Azerbaijan and Armenia. I think the one place where he is simply out of line is when he claims that he ended the war between India and Pakistan and he used tariffs as a lever. I think that is utter nonsense. But other than that, I think you have to give him some credit for trying to end the wars. Now, does somebody who tries to broker peace deserve the peace prize? Or do the protagonists who decide to end the war between them and make peace between themselves deserve it? The record has been that the protagonists get the peace prize, not the broker. Otherwise, Jimmy Carter would have gotten it, right? When he got Anwar Sadat and Menachem Begin to come and sign a peace deal. There are other US presidents who deserved a Nobel simply because they brokered peace. So I'm not entirely sure about his entitlement to the peace prize, but yes, I will agree to the point that he has tried to stop some of the wars and he has not...
Well, except the one between India and Pakistan, Ambassador Gunter, I don't think there is much to debate about the other brokering of peace deals, stroke ceasefires, as Sushant Sareen points out, except that on India and Pakistan, clearly that's not the correct situation. But do you really believe brokers and protagonists are two different pieces in terms of deserving of the Nobel Peace Prize, as Sushant Sareen points out?
I respectfully think that what you have to look at is peace. President Trump, as having worked for him and being his friend, I know for a fact that he is very results driven. This is not some type of academic exercise where we're looking at kind of ethereal and theoretical results. We're talking real results. The Abraham Accords gave peace to 4 Arab countries with Israel. The same with Azerbaijan and Armenia. These are saving people's lives. These are not some academic exercise where we're going to speculate who really, might bring peace or however you want to look at it. Donald Trump has stopped numerous wars and saved thousands and thousands of lives. And if you don't believe me, you can go ask the people that are on the airplane right now flying into the Middle East to greet the hostages. Obviously, many of them already murdered by Hamas, but also many of them alive, and see what they think about it. Think about the other participants who nominated President Trump for the Nobel Peace Prize. We're talking results. We're talking about true peace. This is not an academic exercise. This is saving lives around the world, and no one's done more than Donald Trump to be deserving of the prize.
Well, Ambassador Gunter, I agree that he's made these efforts, and these are yeoman efforts that have been made. But there has been, despite the signing of the Gaza peace, there have been some attacks there even today. However, not really reducing the importance of the peace deal that has been signed. But I have a rather different question for you. I want to ask you, when he fell out with Elon Musk, Twitter was banned and Truth Social came in. Do you think not getting the Nobel Peace Prize will mean another order of peace prizes being now instituted within the United States of America?
You mean, will they create alternatives to the Nobel Peace Prize? Is that your question?
Yes.
I would. It's clearly political. Whenever we give things to people who do not deserve them, we devalue things. Modi knows that. Your great leader in India knows that people have to have things earned. And when you give a Nobel Peace Prize to Barack Obama for simply doing nothing, it devalues things. And all your viewers know that. All your great guests know that. There's a certain credibility that we have to have that brings us on your show, that brings us to our everyday lives. And when the Nobel Peace Prize is given away willy-nilly, like they did with Barack Obama, it devalues it. but it also creates an opportunity for others to step in and create awards of value. And
Well,
no doubt,
well said, Ambassador Gunter, but Sushant Sareen, just 10 seconds. Is this more about Obama winning the Nobel and Trump really missing it by a whisker or a mile? I don't know. But is this really about that? Because at the end of the day, Trump said if he did not get the Nobel Peace Prize, it would be an insult to America. The fact that Obama got one, was that not pride of America?
No, I think I agree with Dr. Gunter that Obama getting the Nobel Peace Prize did devalue it, but a lot of undeserving people have gotten the Nobel Peace Prize. And yes, he's correct. It has been a political prize. It has always been. Even when the Americans backed it, the woman in Venezuela who's gotten the prize this year, did she actually deserve it? What was she doing? She was just a political activist. Okay, she's fighting against a horrible regime. Fine, I give her that. But does that deserve a Nobel Peace Prize? I don't think so. So yes, the prize has been devalued, which is precisely why somebody who has gotten the highest award anybody can get in the world, which is to be elected the President of the United States, I think it looks very unseemly for somebody like him to hanker after this prize.
Absolutely. So he raised the stakes on this one. Not that the world didn't know that the Nobel was devalued, but the fact is President Trump raised the stakes, and now with him not getting this Peace Prize, what are the memes? What is social media going to say? They're going to have a field day. We leave it at that. Thank you very much, Sushant Sareen. Thank you very much, Ambassador Gunter, for joining me on the show tonight. With that, it's a wrap on the news hour. Good night, be safe, and I'll see you back on Monday. Have a safe weekend.